Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of The Bullet. My name is Paul Lathrop. I'm the Deputy Director of New Media for the Second Amendment Foundation. Joining me today is something a little bit different on a weekday. I've got two commentators with me today. Up on my right side here, on my left as you're looking at it, Mike Piwowarski from The Rundown. Mike, it is opening day for baseball. I think this is a national holiday for you, yet you were still able to carve time out of your day to come join us, man. Thank you very much.
Hold on, I gotta go. It's opening day? I'm sorry, I didn't realize it was opening. Yes, Paul. Yeah, no problem. My team is not playing today, so we're okay. We're good to go. It's a pleasure to be here with you as usual on this splendid Thursday afternoon.
All right. And then down on the bottom row there, although certainly not commensurate with his value, we have John Anderson from the Get Off My Lawn podcast. John, thanks for tagging along today, man.
Absolutely. So if it's opening day for baseball, that can mean only one thing. We're just about to the hockey playoffs, which is really all that matters.
Hockey.
It is a tough time. It is tough because I follow hockey and baseball. Obviously, baseball is the big passion, but it's like a break from hockey today and this week, and then I'll jump back in again. But everybody's standings and points is ready to go, so we're good.
So for those following along at home, who are your teams, baseball and hockey?
The baseball team is the New York Mets. There we go. Let's Emus Metropoli. Let's go Mets. And then, of course, I have shifted my Northern allegiance. It's the only team I've shifted my Northern allegiance from. I am a Tampa Bay Rays guy. No.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
You mean
baseball and Tampa Bay Lightning. Baseball.
I knew what you meant. You meant. I'm not a baseball fan. I follow the Avalanche. It's going to be a good year. There's a very good chance that Colorado and a Florida team meet in the finals, but it probably won't be Tampa the way it's looking. I'm hoping for Colorado, Florida.
It'd be nice. My brother's team is Florida, so it's kind of like they're like my secondary team, just in case.
It would be very cool just to revisit that first matchup from '96. Okay, anyway.
There is one sport in the world, and that is NASCAR. Everything else is minor league stuff. Baseball is the most major minor league, but it's still minor league. So
baseball, NASCAR, that's a whole lot of left turns for me.
Yeah. As a fan of curling, Paul, I could argue about it being the only sport. Yeah.
See, both curling and hockey involve ice, and therefore should be banned for all time.
Well, then let's just talk bocce.
There we go. Yeah. I figure you got to do curling every day just to get out of the house there, Paul.
All right. Well, we do have news we need to talk about, and that's part of why I brought John in. John, 3 weeks ago, Nebraska made a big splash. I thought permitless carry was coming to Nebraska, and let me get a little bit of a backstory. The past about 3 years, Nebraska has flirted with permitless carry. It's gotten into the legislature. It's made it a ways down the road in the legislature, and then it dies in committee. Happened that way the past about 3 years. This year, it looked like it was going to do that exact same thing again, and then the original sponsor of the bill, pulled it out of committee through some rules, and it looked like it was going to get some traction. It looked like it was going to move on, and here we are today, and it's out of committee, but it's going nowhere. And my understanding from our little bit of talk we were able to do pre-show is the legislature has today, tomorrow, and one more day, and they're not scheduling anything. It's just sitting there. Have I got that right?
Well, and anybody who knows more about the end of the legislative session is welcome to correct me out there in Cyberland as well. The way I understand this is that after tomorrow, then there will be 3 days where the the governor has a chance to veto any bills that have been sent to his desk, and then the final day of this session is April 20th. Our sessions run over the course of 2 different years, and the second year of the session is a shorter session. So we're not exactly sure what is happening, and we do have a few sources from inside the Capitol with whom we can speak and get some information. It's not really inside information, of course. Those cards are always played close to the vest. From the info that we were given earlier in the week, it sounded really, really likely that LB 773 was still going to be scheduled for its next round of debate sometime this week. Now here we are Thursday, and we've still heard crickets. The agendas aren't published usually until late the night before, early the morning of a given day. So I haven't seen yet what is scheduled for tomorrow. But the way that bills work, as you alluded earlier, even a bill that doesn't go anywhere in committee because they refuse to vote on it, which normally just effectively kills the bill, there is a provision in our Constitution where a senator can, if it's the one bill per session they've designated their priority, then they can execute a poll motion, and the whole Senate has to vote. If they get enough votes, then the bill does come out of committee, no matter what the committee had to say about it. And so that happened, and it did pass, and they did have the first round of debate here several weeks ago now. Between when that debate happened, which was mostly 8 hours of filibuster, that's just what it was. It did bust the filibuster. It did get sent on to the next round, which is called, the first one was general file, the next round is select file, with a stop in between the two called enrollment and review, where basically they add any amendments that were approved and then just check it over for typos, things like that, send it back out for the next round. So select file is what we're waiting on. That's 4 hours worth of debate, potentially 4 hours of filibuster. And then if it passes select file, back to E&R, out for final reading, where the bill in its entirety, in its amended form, whatever amendments have passed, is read there on the floor from top to bottom, and then 2 more hours of debate, and then a final vote. So those last 2 steps, select file and final reading, we have yet to get to. And last, with the information I have, there's no information yet to give. We don't know for sure what's happening even within NFOA unless our president has gotten something yet this afternoon, which she just hasn't had time to get out to the rest of us yet. But short of that, I don't know anything. I don't have anything to report, which is honestly, and I'm speaking now as me and not as an NFOA board member, but it's frustrating because we've worked too hard to see this not go anywhere. And I need to get better informed of what happens when a bill passes general file and then the time runs out. I believe they can pick this up in the fall when they come back. And so more to come on that, and once we know more, then I know that either Trish or myself would be happy to come back with another update.
Okay. I want to get a couple of comments in here. Charlie Chambers, get this one up here, says Georgia governor to sign into law permitless carry on Tuesday. It goes into law then, no delay. Georgia family and friends are thrilled. Whoops, I got the wrong. Let me get that one up so we don't cover up John. I bet you Tom Knighton's kind of tickled about that one too. Tom's going to be coming up Monday.
I bet he is.
Yeah. So yeah, very cool.
I lost the pool on it then. I said tomorrow. I said Friday was going to be the day. Remember as soon as he signed, we recall we we sat down and a bunch of us tried to figure out when. I picked this Friday, so I'm out. I have to go back and look and see who picked Tuesday next week.
And John, I'm just hearing from your boss. Besides giving you a raise, she's saying it's Monday.
Oh, it is going to be heard on Monday. Okay, so yes, I don't stand. I sit corrected. So there we go. Trish, I'm glad you're out there to help me out. And I don't know, Trish may have sent me a text on my phone. I left it out in the other room, so I'm not available by text message while we do this.
Okay. So the second now, this is where I'm hoping they can carry over to the fall, simply because, as you explained it, they've got Monday and then they're done till the fall, if I'm understanding the way you were explaining it earlier.
Well, if that's the case, if they're going to hear it on Monday, then there is time, depending on how fast it can clear enrollment, and I think it's enrollment and review is what it's called. It's ENR. Then there may be time, possibly Wednesday, which is that the 20th? The 20th is the final day of the session. So yeah, that would be
time. Today's only the 9th, the 7th. I'm sorry.
So we've got a whole week in there. I wasn't looking at the right calendar. There are some days next week where the Senate doesn't meet, and those are the days where the governor has a chance to veto any bills. So there's still some time. So yeah, stay tuned, and more to come. Those of you that are wanting to get information as fast as we get it, I would encourage you to go to Facebook and like the Nebraska Firearms Owners Association page. And if you don't have Facebook, you can go to nebraskafirearms.org and sign up to be a member. Even if you're not a Nebraskan, you can sign up to be a member, and then you'll get emails as we blast those out. But the Facebook posts happen faster than the email blasts do, just because of just the ease of social media.
Well, and I want to bring up one important point. Nebraska Firearms Owners Association, it doesn't cost you a single penny to be a member. You can be you can be in New Jersey, you can be in Georgia, you can be in North Carolina and be a member, and help out the people in Nebraska, because raw numbers help.
They do. The larger the number of members, the more clout we have when we go to testify on behalf of or against a particular bill in a committee hearing. And when Trish sits down and says she's president of Nebraska Firearm Owners Association with 10,000 members, 50,000 members, 1.5 million members, whatever it is, I mean, as that number grows, then so does the weight of the testimony given on behalf of that membership. So yeah, absolutely, you don't have to be a Nebraskan. The difference being, if you are a Nebraskan, then you can get full member status, which gives you access to voting for board members like myself, which will be happening again later in the year, this fall. So if you're not a Nebraskan, you don't get to vote for board. Other than that, not a huge difference. One thing we don't do, if I can just crow about my organization a little bit here, unlike some of the other organizations, and we won't name any of them, but there's a lot of times that if you're on their email list, you'll get an email almost daily saying, if you don't send us $10, $20, the sky is going to fall and you're going to lose all your guns.
NAGR.
We don't do that.
Was that out loud? I'm sorry.
We don't do that. We don't send out emails asking or begging for money from our membership. That's why we made it free. Our original founding member wanted it that way, so it's in the bylaws. It'll never change. Incidentally, when Paul said that Trish is going to give me a raise, that zero that members pay, that's what we get paid out of as board members and as volunteers. So yeah, she's going to double mine. I already said earlier in the week that I make twice as much as Trish does, because 0 times 2 is twice as much as her 0. So honestly, and I'm not saying that to pat ourselves on the back, I'm saying that because everybody involved in this organization does it because our hearts are in it. We're not in it for our billfold. We're in it for our fellow Nebraskans.
So I got to take you to task on one thing. When she was on the Polite Society podcast Monday night, I think she says you get to keep all of the Bitcoin donations that go to NFOA. So,
Which I think she's going to continue to say up until the point where we get one. And then I don't know if she's going to say that anymore. That she may change her tune if we ever get such a thing and get set up to accept Bitcoin. But honestly, the fact that we don't ask for your money doesn't mean we don't need it, doesn't mean it's not appreciated. Anybody who wants to help out to the cause can sure do so, and you can do that there on the website, nebraskafirearms.org.
All right. Well,
and we're a 501c4. Nobody gets paid out of this. We're a nonprofit. Your money doesn't go to pay for our trips around the world or our wardrobe. It goes to fight for gun owners' rights here in Nebraska.
Very cool. Well, we've burned up just about half the time we have on this. There's 2 more stories I want to get to. If we have time, we will come back. I want to cover this story out of New York State. Believe it or not, there are some legislators in New York State, albeit they're from upstate, that actually get it. There's a proposed law that would put a tax on the sale of ammunition, and it would go to, I'm looking over at the story now, it would go to preventing gun violence and preventing and let's see here. Trying to get to the right part of the story. I'm going to start right here. Quote, New York State is undergoing a challenge on almost a daily basis to our Second Amendment rights, said legislator Kevin D. Ayers Madrid, who is vehemently opposed to this state legislation. The whole purpose of these type of things is to actually take away guns from people. That's not what our Constitution stands for, and we will continue to fight here in St. Lawrence County for the rights of our Second Amendment. Senator Larry Densha DeKalb concurred. I look at this as on tax on law-abiding citizens who own firearms and enjoy shooting sport. It actually forces sportsmen to fund anti-gun legislation. What it is it starts out as so easy, 2 cents per casing, but it will increase, so I'm opposed to this. What they're wanting to do is when you buy ammo, they're going to make you, basically it's a donation to moms, demanding mommies or things like that, to go to gun buybacks and other stupid things like that.
Yeah, it's the same thing, Paul. John, we just saw it out of San Jose, out of California, right? We're gonna impose this tax, and then we're going to give the money to the people we seem fit to give it to. And they listed off people like Crazy Moms Against Everything and the Bloombergs and every town. So they're going to tax those that are lawfully, barely able to lawfully exercise their Second Amendment rights up there in New York, and they want to give that money to the organizations that are fighting to take the firearms away, or fighting for registration, confiscation, whatever it is. It's just, it's amazing. As I sit here in Nebraska, you guys sit. Excuse me, I sit in Florida, you sit in Nebraska and South Dakota. Where we have some freedoms with our firearms. This wouldn't even get off the ground in the states we're in right now. But in New York, they may have to fight this. This may get passed and may have to end up in a court somewhere, getting overturned down the road 2-3 years from now, just like is going on in California.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate because anybody who buys ammo has a choice to make. Do you buy the ammo and fund the very groups trying to take away your rights to buy that ammo, or do you not buy that ammo? I mean, that's the choice, right? If you don't want to fund them, then you don't buy ammo, which is not an option for any gun owner that I know.
Now, in order to keep yourself sharp, in order to be effective with that firearm, you need to practice. Mm-hmm. Marksmanship is very much a perishable skill, and so you need to keep using that weapon to keep proficient with it. So this is a poll tax, is exactly what it is. They're taxing your ability to remain effective.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah, and it's another big middle finger salute on behalf of Soros and Bloomberg to all of us who do champion the rights of gun owners across the country. I mean, it's hey, you can sure buy your ammo, but you're putting money in my pocket, so thank you with every ammo purchase for lining my pocket, you know. And it's maddening to think about something like that.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't know New York state law. Can New Yorkers order ammo from outside the state and have it shipped?
No,
they cannot.
No.
Okay, I figured
they're restricted. They can't even use that option. You know, and listen, you notice how, and this is, you know, how squirrely they are, right? How sneaky they are. They're taxing the ammunition, not the firearms, because when it gets down to that fight in New York, they'll say, well, it's, Your Honor, we're not going after the arms, we're going after bullets. It doesn't say the right to bear arms and bullets, and that just will delay it in the court another year or two. We've seen that argument before. We've seen, you know, and so they know exactly what they're doing. They're trying everything they can to, again, take away our Second Amendment rights.
Well, and let's say that it goes all the way up to the Supreme Court. We've now got a newly confirmed justice who can't even define what is or isn't a woman. How can that justice be counted on to look at the Constitution and make a good ruling, whether we like it or not, a good ruling based in constitutional knowledge on what is or is not an arm?
Well, she can't, but she's replacing Breyer, who couldn't either.
That's true, but at the same time, the precedent is now set for lack of basic, and I'm not going to say basic knowledge. Clearly, she's not she's a smart individual to get where she has gotten in her career, but the inability, or rather unwillingness, to make such a simple comment in a confirmation hearing. What's going to happen when she actually has to write an opinion on a landmark case? She's going to waffle, and she may have several pages in an opinion, but nothing that comes out of it will say anything. And if that's the case, why bother having Supreme Court justices?
The waffling was to get the job. Trust me, there'll be no waffling when she's got the job.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, I think, you know, listen, the definition of a woman thing, she answers that the way she answered it, so she has the opportunity to get on the bench and give her opinion rather than cite facts based on the Constitution or cite.
Well, and in fairness, Senator Blackburn gave her that out. If Senator Blackburn had asked, how do you define a woman, instead of, can you provide me the definition, then everything would have been different. But she didn't paint her into a corner, and she gave her that option as an out, and there was nothing to do.
I do want to move on to one more story here because we've only got 8 minutes left. But SAF's Lee Williams came out with a story today, and I found it on AmmoLand. Basically, what this is, they've been going after ghost guns, and I've been saying this ever since they started. Lee Williams, God bless Lee Williams, and he is a trained professional journalist. I play one on the internet. I'm a podcaster. I'm an opinion guy. Lee is a professional, true journalist, and Lee. Let me explain a little bit about what Lee has done. He went to the ATF and went to the main guy that started this ghost gun war, and that person is a bit too high to consistently be able to be gotten to. So he went to the next person, which is Eric Longnecker. And he filed FOIA requests, which the ATF generally ignores, but it was able to get in contact with this person and asked for information about the number of homemade firearms that have been confiscated by the ATF. And basically they're saying, well, we'll get back to you. Yeah. That's what their answer is. They do have some solid numbers in this story, and this is nationwide. 2016, 1,750. 2017, 2,507. 2018, 3,776. 2019, 7,161. And 2020, 8,712. That doesn't sound to me like an epidemic. That sounds to me like what the ATF is pretending is happening in downtown LA.
Now, I've heard in the past, can you verify yes or no on this? I've heard in the past that a lot of those statistics lump in guns that have the serial number filed off, but they're not homemade. Does that data include those?
That I do not see in this story. That is something, and I've said that. I've said that a lot because that is something I have heard.
From what I know, talking to the law enforcement sources and friends, is depending on who's reporting the FBI UCRs. I know in California considers those now to be ghost guns. Many of those, listen, you can also bring serial numbers up on. Forensics can do that, but that's not part of their story. So yes, and the other part of this is those numbers that they're giving, that they're being seized, ghost guns are being seized. In many of those cases, the only crime is possession of a firearm without a serial number on it under state law, not under federal law, because again, it's not a crime under federal law. But so many of those numbers you're seeing being reported and being reported up to the ATF through the FBI UCRs are state violations of firearms without a serial number on them, so-called ghost guns. That
possibly possession of firearm by a felon.
But yeah, possibly, sure. There's 100 other possibilities where it could be an illegal act, but the majority of them are, the only crime is, well, we stopped these people, we pulled over these people, they had a firearm in the car, checked the firearm, it had no serial number. That's illegal in our state. Now you've been charged with the felony.
And just the main gist of the story and what I took from it is the ATF continues to make stuff up as they go along and just play it to fit their narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's nothing new.
No, not at
the big test ball. I'd have to look. I want to see them by state. Show me these numbers by state, because you got a state where, listen, Florida, Texas, roughly the same population as New York and California. Two states where 80% you can't have, and two states that you are. And I guarantee you those numbers are polar opposites of each other. Again, because in those states, you're looking at, the only crime is possession of a ghost gun. Whereas in Florida and Texas, it's not an issue down here. So we don't have that problem with that, in those numbers being that high.
Larry over the Facebook side says 1954, how to lie with statistics. Daryl Huff. Yeah. And Patrick says, let me get this one in first. George Geller says, has anyone ever asked what fraction of serious crimes is committed by previously convicted felons? George, I'll tell you, I know it's a very large number as far as that fraction. And I'll get another comment in here in just a second. But, and I'll say this, a story that hit big time this past weekend was committed by many felons that had been convicted and released early. Speaking of the shooting in Sacramento this past winter.
Percentage of shootings in Sacramento this last week that applies to 100% of the ones that made the news.
That's right.
And
isn't it just odd? And I know that people have beat this topic to death, but I just want to throw this one out there for all the kids at home following along. All of the laws now that Biden and Feinstein et al. Are calling for across the land to make federal law are things that are in place in California that did nothing to stop those innocents from dying.
You're absolutely right.
But yet somehow those are going to be a good idea in every state? Tell me another one.
Yeah, let's turn every state into the hellhole that is California. No, thank you.
Yeah, don't California my Nebraska.
Amen.
Chicago looked at Sacramento this week and said, "Hold my beer, bro. Hold my beer."
Yeah.
All right, let me get this one in. Patrick Collins says, Ghost guns, California gives too much credit to criminals. They need to understand the fundamentals before making any rulings on ghost guns. There's one danger here, and that's giving too... a lot of people think that criminals are idiots. And to an extent they are, but they can also be smart people. I'm not saying it's the world's most complicated thing to turn a Glock Model 17 full auto. You do have to replace some parts. But you can't come across a Glock and do it the first time. Just, it's not like putting a Lego set together. You've got to have some knowledge and some skill to do it and for it to work reliably. I don't want to undersell the intelligence of the person that put that firearm together. Is it illegal? Yep. Should it be? I don't know. I personally believe that full auto, you know what? There are so few crimes committed with full auto. This is the first full auto crime I've heard about in a very long time.
Yeah.
And do we have confirmation yet on this full auto? Because all I heard is witness reports of it sounded like full auto.
I dug on Monday. I found three. They've been pulled now, but I found 3 videos from the scene. I did not see full auto, but I did hear full auto. And it was fast full. I mean, we're talking as fast or faster than Uzi full auto.
Well, remember, it's not how fast a machine gun shoots; it's how to make a machine gun shoot fast that makes it a machine gun.
And how
Yeah.
How do I put this? Full auto, very very fast, shoots like this. So
Yeah.
And especially on a Glock 17. But listen, yeah, like you said, it's you've got to have some machine. You got to be able to machine some parts to get that in there and do that right. And as far as remember ATF had the story and Vice had the story. They were getting parts from Wish. Those things are made of plastic and cheap aluminum, and they'll break before they even get in the gun, let alone when you try and shoot it. So, yeah, I think this is a lot of exaggeration also, just like the numbers. I'm curious to see it. I want to see it. I'm not from Missouri, but on this one, you're going to have to show me, was this a machine gun or not?
Yeah. All right, well, guess what? We're over time. Big shock. Another Magnum episode. All right. Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much. John, thanks for taking time out of your Thursday to make a rare appearance on the Bullet. I'm hoping.
Thanks for the invite.
I'm hoping we can have you back again very soon and say, look, it's done.
Well, I'm available next week, so we can talk, and that will be after Monday. So I'll know more a week from today than I do today.
Okay. All right.
And I'll probably call Trish when I get done here, and I may know more tonight. But if anybody wants to reach out and get some updates, again, you can reach out to us. One of the probably the fastest way to get feedback is to direct message us on Facebook to the Nebraska Firearms Owners Association page, or email info@nebraskafirearms.org.
Okay. And
make sure firearms is plural.
In order for you to come back Thursday, I got to have Mike share his seat, and Mike's not good with sharing.
Yeah, I've kind of encroached upon his time, so.
I play well. Hey, I get to sit and listen. It's kind of a treat.
Plus, there's probably going to be an Amazings game on next Thursday, so.
No, there probably will be. Thursday's a play day. I got to wait. My games actually don't start until about 20 minutes from now, so I'll be pleasant with you for the next 15. After that, I'm out.
All right. Well, how about, why don't I let you get 15 minutes of pregame in? We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Everybody, thank you for watching. And by the way, on our way out, the numbers on the podcast version have just been exploding. And thank you for that. Thank you, everybody that's been sharing the show. Please continue to do that. And thanks, everybody, for listening, and all your live viewers that have been chiming in. Thank you for that. You add so much to the show. If you're a podcast listener and you want to join us live, come do that 5 p.m. Central Time on the Polite Society Podcast, Facebook, and YouTube page. Until tomorrow, everybody, thanks for joining us. And